Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. I am so happy that you joined us today. And today I am happy to bring to you a true veteran of fast paced business growth and profitability. Our guest is Ben Hansen, a remarkable five-time Inc. 5,000 entrepreneur. Ben is the founder of an eight-figure staffing firm, and in a previous venture, he demonstrated incredible scaling power, building a team of over 100 employees in just 8 years while consistently achieving both fast growth and high profit margins. Ben understands firsthand what it takes to build a lean, scalable business that actually makes money. And today he is going to focus on helping CEOs solve their profit problems fast. So grab your pen, grab your pencil, and get ready to dive deep into the strategies that drive real, sustainable financial success. So welcome, Ben. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Ida. I'm really looking forward to meeting you, to talking with you, and hopefully sharing a few bits of news you can use with your audience.
Absolutely. I'm sure you will. Now, you know what my first question is going to be. I hope I say this right because I know you just told me, but I might get it wrong. So, what is profititis? Did I say it right?
Yeah, you said it, like laryngitis, some other kind of itis. It's an itis. It's an itis of the profit.
Oh, okay.
And so the way I look at it is for many companies, their revenue and sales is pretty strong and healthy, often, stable or going up. But if while revenue is and sales are stable and going up, but your bottom line profitability is going down or flat, there is a widening gap between revenue and profitability or sales and income. And essentially, you're not keeping as much of what you're, quote, making. And that is profititis.
Okay. So, what's the cure?
Ah, well, it's not exactly one size fits all. That's why we, often work with our clients to go through sort of a diagnostic X-ray evaluation type process. But if I could start with just one stake in the ground, what I would say is focusing on profitability directly is one of the most powerful levers to help business owners improve their profitability. And you might be thinking, well, gosh, isn't everybody? And what we find is that so many people who are either average or below average profitability, AKA profititis, are so busy revenue, sales, growth, operation, firefighting, HR problems, stuff like that, that they haven't really carved out enough time and headspace to focus on profitability. And that's the first step.
Wow. Okay. So, let's talk about the myths.
Oh, we love myths.
So, what is the biggest profit myths?
Well, not to kind of plow the same ground a second time, but let me plow the same ground a second time. I think the biggest myth is this myth that sales, revenue, growth, I'm kind of lumping those all into one thing, often just different names for the same thing, is the answer to every problem. And specifically, that you can fix low profitability with more sales. And sometimes it's true. If you have a high fixed overhead and a high margin but low sales, more sales could really help your profitability. But if you do a little thought experiment, let's say you're a $8 million plumbing company. Let's say 2 years ago, you're a $6 million plumbing company that was more profitable on a percentage basis than you are today. That extra $2 million in revenue did not improve your profitability. Why on earth would doing more of the same and getting to $10 million make you more profitable if it didn't make you profitable last time, so to speak. Yeah. So what we try to do is we try to help people fix their profitability first and then scale. It's not profit or growth, but for many people, they have hit a point in their development where they need to redirect some of their energies to cleaning up profitability rather than 100% of my energy on growth. The cool part is once your profitability is, let's just say, tuned up or healed or cured, often growth can come much more easily, naturally, and organically. And I'll tell you for sure, it comes with a lot more payoff.
Okay, so when you talk about cleaning it up, what what are some of the things you need to do to clean it up?
Yeah. Well, what we often see, and let me just back up. I want to give tremendous uh, credit and acknowledgement to business owners out there. Man, it's hard. I know. I've been there and I've worked with so many business owners. So I don't ever want to take for granted the smarts and accomplishments that as CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs you guys have. I'll also say very common for most CEOs to have blind spots somewhere. The people who don't have blind spots in the profitability area are generally the ones who have really outstanding above average profitability for their industry and their size. And what we do is we sort of leverage their best practices and share them with those companies that are either average or below average profitability, typically in the same industry and the same size range. And so it's not that those CEOs in average profit or below profit, we'll say buckets in that industry, are dumb or stupid or lacking or no good. It's that they probably have a blind spot within that profitability realm, but they didn't get where they are without being super talented, likely just at other things. So what we do is we try to help partner with them and apply the best practices in their industry and in profitability in general for companies of about their size to help them kind of see and then patch up in that profitability blind spot for them. And I think I gave you a really great answer, but I don't know that I answered your question.
Yeah, so in your experience, what have you noticed some of the blind spots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one of the biggest blind spots, and we already kind of covered this myth of growth, but very closely associated with that is the idea that we're going to do more stuff and that is the answer. And often that more stuff means you're doing more things, but many of those more things, because they have a cost and often are only contributing a small amount of value, means that they're net negative in terms of profitability. So, like a metaphor that I offer is if you're in a hot air balloon and you're going this way and there's like a mountain here, what is the best way to like go over that mountain or to make the balloon go up as a like metaphor for increasing company profitability? Is it build a bigger balloon? Is it pump that balloon up more? Or maybe is it to throw some weight out, right? And so that is the first blind spot. What within your organization is essentially weighing you down more than it's lifting you up? And again, in that metaphor of the hot air balloon, you know, if you took a hatchet and you cut some of the ropes off those sandbags and that ballast fell off, your balloon would shoot up. And so the next good question you may want to ask me, Ida, is what are some rich areas to cut ballast in a lot
Yeah,
of people's business?
that was going to be my next question. So
Right
you
on,
hit
right
it on the
on.
nose.
Yeah.
So let's
Well,
talk about it.
yeah, yeah. You know, some of the most common areas that we find, we'll call it um, net negative things that by doing less of or getting rid of, as compared to fixing. And see, that's a key distinction. Many of us entrepreneurs are fixers, so we want to fix broken stuff. And a very important question is it worth fixing, or would it be better to just kind of like get rid of it, right? And in many cases, like let's talk about a product or service portfolio. Imagine your company has 20 things that they sell. They could be products, they could be services, they could be high end, low end, whatever, right? It would be highly unlikely that all 20 of those things offered the same profitability or the same amount of revenue for every, hour of effort or $100 of effort, whether that's marketing or people time or whatever. It would be highly likely that like your five best products would be accounting for 80% of your revenue and profitability. And then maybe your five worst products may be costing you more than they're bringing in. There's sort of a metaphor where every time you ship that order out, it's like you're taping $100 bills to it. Are there products or services in your company that when you sell them, it's costing you money? And if you haven't already optimized for this within the last, let's say, 3 months, there's a high likelihood that there are. And so your product and service portfolio is a very rich area for optimization.
Okay, so that's what you help companies look at, those I'm going to call the drainers, so to speak.
Yes, we call them profit leaks.
Okay.
And so, where is profit leaking out of your organization? And a couple of very big ones are we help people optimize their product and service portfolio, to help them optimize their pricing, for example, to optimize the customers that they work with. In many cases, certain categories of customers way more productive to service than others. And then also, how they are producing what it is that they produce. Their team and their subcontractors and supply chain and that whole thing. Those are sort of like three big, I guess there were four big buckets there, product and services, pricing, customers, and then the things that you input into the production of your stuff, whether it's folks on your team or subcontractors or suppliers or partners or whatnot.
Okay. So if companies want to work with you, how do they connect?
Don't do that. We just produce good results. You might as well just do it on your own. Um, so we have a website, www.profitdoctor.com, PROFIT, and then DOCTOR. So it's money, like that kind of profit, not Muhammad, and doctor spelled all the way out. So profitdoctor.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, Profit Dr. Ben, easy to find. But I'm pretty sure in the show notes, we will give you a link to an offer that we have. It's totally free. We love helping people. You can go in there, you can get access to this tool, and this tool will help you find some of your own profit leaks. A lot of people like looking at that before they just say, well, gosh, last year my $5 or $10 million company only netted 5% net profitability. Maybe I should just call this guy and see if he could help me double that. And that's often what we do. You can come to our website, you can see some customer case studies. And for us, we guarantee that people get another 5 points of net profitability. And sometimes that's a little not too easy to wrap your mind around what is 5 points of profitability. But if you have a $1 million company, that's another $50,000 a year of net profit. So it's basically another $50,000 a year of net profit every year for every $1 million of revenue. So for a $10 million company, that's $500,000 a year of extra like free cash flow, free money. And this basically helps you keep more of the money that you make.
Okay. And we all need to be keeping more money in our pockets, that's for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, so the 50-20 rule.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one.
What's
Um,
yours?
So remember how I was talking essentially about pruning the ballast from your organization, right? And we talked about four big buckets. Um, Pricing isn't exactly pruning, but it is an area for opportunity. So the other three buckets were customers, products and services, and then, the inputs to what it is that you're making and selling. The 50/20 rule, we'll just say for customers. The idea is to cut half of the worst 20% of customers or customer segments within 30 days. And let me kind of break that apart. So first, we're not talking about getting rid of your good ones. Hold those guys really tight. That's what's going to take, that's what's already like keeping your balloon afloat, right? But when you look at your customer portfolio, there's probably the best, the average, and the worst when it comes to how effective you have been with your customers in terms of pruning. And let's just say that you're average with respect to your customer portfolio, and 20% of your customers are not real productive for you in terms of profitability. But we know, but now we're suggesting to quickly, within 30 days, exit half of those bottom 20%. 30 days because you got to take action now or you'll get sidetracked or whatever. And so that you can already start reaping the benefits. But the reason we say cut half of those worst 20% versus all of them is we know that in that worst 20%, there's going to be all manner of yeah buts and gotchas on why it's hard to do it with so and so. So we're like, put the hard ones to the side and do the easy ones immediately. And so that is the logic behind the 50/20 rule. So just to cover it again, let's say that you have not closely optimized your customers and market segments and so forth, specifically for profitability. If you haven't, it would be highly likely that your worst 20% of market segments or customers are not adding a ton of value to your organization. So the idea would be if you exit that worst 20%, your hot air balloon goes up, your business balloon goes up, your profitability goes up. We invite you to do it quickly, but we also know that there will likely be various entanglements, right? Your sister's nephew is one of those customers. Your best customer's aunt is one of those customers. Well, maybe I don't want to piss off my best customer by firing their aunt as a customer. Okay, put those guys or gals, whatnot, into a little bit of a side bucket. We're going to work that out later. But that hopefully should leave a good half of the worst 20% that honestly, if quote Friday was their last day, probably everybody in the company be better off.
Okay, so when you do that, okay, are you looking at how often they spend? What variables are you looking at?
Well, that is starting to get a lot more case by case.
Okay.
In some cases, it could be frequency of purchases. In other cases, it could be amount of purchases. But in general, what is associated there is the cost of servicing that client on a percentage basis is much higher than the cost of servicing other clients, and certainly in relationship to what they're buying. So let's say you have a client, let's say we're in the home services business, HVAC, right? Let's say you've got a client for, tuning up your air conditioning system. And every time the technician comes out there to do some maintenance, the client is never satisfied, calls the owner, says this is crap, I'm not paying, you need to come back out and fix this for free. Okay, that is a customer that you're likely losing money on. Okay, so now the question is, how many others are like that? Is there a reason that that person should continue to be one of your customers or not? And that would be like an example of that.
Okay. Okay. Now that makes sense. I call them customers from hell.
Yes. And so sometimes these quote customers from hell have a name like Bob Smith or Heather Thompson or whatever it is, right? But sometimes they don't have a name, they have like a category, you know, price shoppers or value buyers or tiny buyers or people from, a certain state or geography or part of town or I don't know, all the things. Um, and, you just have to see for yourself in your own business which groupings of customers are kind of costing you more than they're worth.
Yes, and you made me think about I do tech support, and I used to support uh a AT&T product, and it was this one person that would always call and crying pretty much all the time. And we
Hmm.
actually had to code that person in the system because of their constant complaining, nothing works, everything's wrong type of attitude. So you made
Yeah.
me think of that when you just talked about grouping people.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that would be maybe an example of uh, a low value customer individual. But you could imagine if you're in help desk IT type support, but let's just say for businesses. Let's just pretend that, I don't know, let's just say attorneys are medium tech savvy because they're kind of white collar, highly educated people using a computer all day long. And let's say the things that they spend their time working on their computer are fairly basic, like I don't know, Microsoft Word. I don't know. So they don't call that often, let's just say. But then let's say there's another kind of a business. Um, I don't know, that are technically not very sophisticated, but are being asked to do a lot of complicated computer stuff. So they have a ton of calls, right? So you would imagine that we might just, I don't know what a good example of that is, but let's just say that's type B. So maybe attorney companies are ones we love because they don't call a lot, they don't cost us a lot to service them. And these type B companies cost us a lot to service them because they're kind of tech unsavvy and have a lot of problems. So I guess either you might say type B companies, we're happy to work with you, but we need to charge you twice what we charge other companies on a per head basis. Or you might just say, hey, we no longer service type B companies because we're just not that good at it. So why don't you call Tom's IT, service company? They love working with you guys, are so good at it, or whatever, right?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay, so let's talk about accounting and how it undermines profitability.
Yeah. I'm actually just kicking off a program we call the Profit CFO. Um, by the time many of you see this, we'll be deep into that program. But here it is. The Profit CFO is a program where we teach people how to better understand their financials, how to pull financial levers, and how to have really high impact and valuable regular monthly financial reviews. And one of the areas that we often see accounting and bookkeeping folks kind of undermining the effectiveness of their CEOs that they're serving is they're more focused on precision of their numbers, completeness, and accuracy than they are in making those numbers highly useful. So, one of the things that we do in our work is we help people simplify many of those accounting reports so that it's really easy to see. And there you go, easy to see. We turn that into what we call easy insights. And so we want the reports that you look at as a CEO to be uh, very easy to understand what they're supposed to be telling you. And that is a core area because, again, shockingly, many CEOs assume that their bookkeeping and accounting resources are trying to give them the information to help them manage their business most effectively. In many cases, those people are not thinking that. They're thinking, I want to make sure every number is accurately recorded in the right place. and then I'll print out a report of that for you. And that is not the same thing.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's basically where their skill set is, is to make sure things there's balance.
Yeah. And that's actually why in many of our engagements, we invite the accounting and bookkeeping folks into the program along with the CEO, particularly for this profit CFO, so that the whole team can get on the same page of what a highly useful set of financial reports looks like, how to produce it, how to explain it, how to present it, how to extract the insights from it.
Oh, that's awesome. So is this part of your Profit Accelerator workshop that you do?
Thanks for asking. We've got a couple different workshops. Well, I won't call those workshops. We'll call them programs. There's the Profit Accelerator, which is where we help people cut the ballast that I was just talking about to make that hot air balloon shoot up very, very quickly. There's the Profit CFO, which is where we show them how to get the most out of their financial reports. This allows them to scale the business up, to manage the business more effectively, to pull financial levers to improve profitability, and to hang on to their gains by using their financial reports to kind of look around problems and avoid bad months. So many of our clients, before we work with them, they have 3 good months, one average month, and one bad month. It's like they gave half of the money back. So we help them not do that.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you've got a lot of things that to really help people to really look at their finances in their companies very closely and
Yeah.
very detailed oriented.
Yeah. So I would say for the folks watching, if you are way above average profitability in your industry for your size category, congratulations. Thank you for showing us the way. We are very pleased to copy many of your techniques and best practices and help then those people who are average profitability or below average profitability really improve their businesses, keeping more of the money that they are earning or more bottom line for every dollar of sales and revenue. And if you don't know if you're below average, average, or above average, might be worth a call because the people who are way above average do know. And if you don't know, that might be an indicator that there's an opportunity there. And I'll just tell you what we see is that many, many times below average and average, these folks are doing 90 to 95% of stuff right. So it's so high leverage to just tweak that 5%, and then you're still making customers happy. You're still hiring, training, and developing great people, and you're still delivering amazing value, except now it's comma profitably. There's a really beautiful case study on our website and on the YouTube where Cliff, one of our clients, says the biggest shift is his whole team went from making sure that customers were really satisfied and got great value to making sure that clients were really satisfied and got great value, comma, profitably. And that was the difference for his organization for the last 20 years being basically low single digit profitability to closing 2025 north of 20% profitability. That
Mm,
is huge. That means keeping another 20 cents out of every dollar of revenue. That's a lot of money. That's
yeah.
$200,000 for every $1 million in revenue. I mean, that and a cup of coffee won't just buy you, that whatever. I'm dumb example. Okay, that's a lot of money. We'll leave it at that.
That is a lot of money. So you use the term snake removal system.
Ah.
What is that?
Well, I sometimes teach in my programs this long story about how me as a kid talked my mother into paying me snake allowance, which was paying me $10 a week to not catch snakes because we were going to go into the poisonous snake capture and resale business in a small town in Florida. But the reason I share that metaphor is in many cases, the business has a lot of snakes metaphorically in the business, whether that is clients that are poisoning or sucking the life out of you, products that are like impossible to deliver with customer satisfaction profitably, sometimes suppliers or team members or whatever, and that by exiting those, poisonous parts of your business, you can really improve things. And so exiting poisonous parts of your business is maybe another more colorful way of saying getting rid of ballast in your business or dead weight.
Okay, okay, I like the term for sure. So again, how do companies connect with you?
Yeah, great question. Well, we talked about the URL, the website, profitdoctor.com, profitdoctor.com, but you could also do profitdoctor.com/leak, LEAK, and get access to our leak detector tool. There's also an easy way, for some reason, yeah, scratch that. Profitdoctor.com/leak is a great way to do it. We've got a YouTube channel, a LinkedIn pages as well. But I think that profitdoctor.com/leak is probably the easiest way to immediately jump in to a tool that's free that you can use to help your business identify the leaks within your company.
Okay, and I don't have that with the link on it. So make sure I get that so that I can put
Yep.
in your show notes. I was just looking at everything and I was looking for it. Not here. So make sure I get that because most people are probably going to want to jump on that to see.
Yeah, it's a good place to jump on. It's a good starting point.
Yeah. So Ben, this has been amazing. I've learned so much from you today, and I'm sure my audience has as well. So I really, really appreciate you taking time out to share what your company does. And ladies, don't forget the name, Profit Doctor. We have a doctor for so many different things. Now you have a doctor for your profit in your company. So definitely reach out.
There you go. Now, my lawyer wants you to know that I'm not a doctor. Like, don't come to me with medical problems. YouTube, don't blow up this episode and block us. We're not medical doctors. It's like a business profitability doctor.
Yes, yes. And the name says it. So there's nothing to confuse.
Well,
So
thank you, Ida, for having me. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed talking with you. Um, and I hope that this provides some value for your clientele. I mean, that's really the mission that we're on. We just hate to see people who have poured, blood, sweat, and tears into building up their companies just not be getting the financial success that they should be getting based on, the revenue and the growth and the organization that they've built up. So very commonly, we're working with people, maybe 10 to 100 employees, 2 million to 50 million in revenue. We really have a very, very powerful tool set that can help you, gals and guys, jumpstart your profitability, often doubling profitability within 90 days, adding 5 points of net profitability in 90 days. Very, very powerful toolkit. That 50/20 rule can absolutely jumpstart your profitability and your financial success. And it just takes off so much stress. Again, particularly if you're in that below average profitability bucket or kind of roughly average for your industry and size range.
okay, so I thank you for that, Ben. And audience, we thank you as well. As always, everybody have an amazing day and blessings.